Pettersson's the number one D-man. Is Marcus Pettersson a guy I think the Oilers should be moving all these assets out to try get as a rental? Like, I don't think so. And we talked about it yesterday. It might start to become a deadline for the Oilers where it's not the big flashy swing. It's let's move a 3rd round pick for this guy. Let's move a 4th round pick and a prospect for this guy and shore up the depth both on the blue line and up front. And my Sherwood Ford Giant question is going to be, and feel free to chime in the chat here, who's your new number one trade target for the Oilers? Mine might be Trent Frederic. You're going to get a decent amount of offense from him. He's playing in a bottom 6 role, so it's not like a Henrique situation where you look at the 22 goals and you're like, oh, that's getting added into the lineup. Then he starts to play 3rd line minutes and he's off the power play and you're like, oh, he's not scoring how I thought he would. Like, Trent Frederic can score in a bottom 6 role. He can give you that little bit of grittiness that maybe you're missing right now. Like, imagine rolling out a 4th line with Frederic and Perry on it for a playoff series.
The damage.
Another team, they'll be sick of you by game 2. Forget game 6 or game 7. So Trent Frederic is my new number one. Liam, who is yours?
Pack your bags. You're coming to Edmonton?
Yeah, I'll pick you up from the airport in the Nation truck.
Okay, that's the deal.
Yeah, Trent Frederic's probably the ad I would have up front. I would even, like, you can kind of spot him wherever you really need to. He's just kind of a pesky player, isn't he? I know you said you didn't like him when I brought him up, but I think Brian Dumoulin is actually a pretty good option, to be honest, as just like a depth guy. I looked through the numbers a little bit out of curiosity, and I wrote an article coming out on Oilers Nation. Like, his numbers defensively are pretty much identical, if not slightly better than Brett Kulak when the Oilers acquired him from Montreal a few years ago too. So Brett Kulak did play 56 games, sorry, not 30. Yeah, 56 games at these stats, and Dumoulin's at 48. So like, it's pretty similar, which is interesting. And Anaheim got him for a 4th round pick from Seattle over the summer. Like, I don't know if the Oilers would have to spend as much as they did to get Kulak, which was a 2nd, a 4th, and William Lagesson. But like, say it's a 3rd, and I don't know, give him Alex Regula, so someone of that caliber, just to send him back as a contract. Who was that, sorry? Phil Kemp?
Yeah, but in this scenario, is we can only get one of Frederic or Dumoulin?
No, you could get them both.
But Liam, is that how you're viewing it?
Yeah, I would say try and get both. Like, Dumoulin is more like my depth ad, I guess you could say.
Okay, good. I was gonna go very crazy if it was Frederic over Dumoulin.
Oh no! I'm team Frederic.
Reach for another bad take.
AB, flip back one. Go back to the middle part of the list there. Anyone that stand out to you? Who's your number one? You mean we can look at the top 10 quickly too? JT Miller's at number 1 on Frank's board.
Yeah, it's Frederic all day.
Yeah, like people are commenting in
like
here.
I love Dylan Cousins, but I know that's not realistic.
Yeah, and you're never going to be able to fit it in. Someone said Bowen Byram. I don't think the Oilers
I love Bowen Byram, but I also know that's not realistic.
Yeah,
Brock Nelson is interesting, but also I don't know if it's realistic.
Is there any defenseman tie that you think are actually realistic for the Oilers and makes sense with everything? Like, the one thing that turns me off Pettersson a little bit too, that Frank wrote in his trade targets list today, is like, he's not a very good puck mover. And I know that's not something you'll need necessarily from a depth guy, like on your bottom pairing, 2nd pairing, whatever. But like, is there a defenseman on the Oilers that can't move the puck? Like Josh Brown, obviously, but out of the 7 they have, they're all pretty good at moving it. Like, he just doesn't seem like a style fit.
Yeah, I listen. I agree with that. Like, he's not a puck mover, and he's not a guy who I can see flipping to the right side and working well with a Darnell Nurse. Like, again, Mike Matheson's the guy I move whatever the Habs want for him, more or less, or within reason, because he's a lefty, but he's very comfortable, has played the right side all year, good defender, high-end puck mover. Like, that's a Darnell Nurse partner who, if I get 2 playoff runs of Nurse and Matheson together at that cap hit, I'm all over it. I'm absolutely all over it. Pettersson, if Pittsburgh sits there and the market's not there for him and it's a 3rd round pick for Marcus Pettersson, I'm fine with it because he's going to go to the 3rd pair and Kulak's going to move over. And again, you're still just adding that layer of depth. But if he's the number 1 defenseman on the board, he's going for probably a Chris Tanev-esque package, and I'm not giving up a 2nd and a 3rd for Marcus Pettersson.
And also, too, he's the only unrestricted free agent on the Penguins this season.
So they're probably looking to cash in on their one true rental. Yeah. Drew O'Connor is a UFA. Liam, put some respect on his name.
My apologies, Mr. O'Connor.
What's up, Nation citizens? If you like that video, then you need to be subscribed to the Oilers Nation YouTube. Podcasts, live shows, exclusive interviews, and analysis. Everything you need from your favorite voices at Oilers Nation. And you don't want to miss any of it, so hammer that subscribe button.